I wanted to mention what the Dover Library is doing because I think it's awesome. So we all are aware of recycling, your plastics, your bottles, stuff like that. But the Dover Library wants to do something different. So all the caps from those plastic bottles, your laundry detergent, anything you can think of that's the plastic caps, it's a different material than those water bottles that you're used to. So we want to recycle those, and the way we're doing that is going and dropping them off at the Dover Public Library, located on Walnut Street, next to the high school. And the goal is to have enough, about 200 pounds worth of plastic caps, and we're going to make a bench. And it's I'm assuming it'll be right outside Dover Public Library, so we can all see, what the community was able to do. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to get involved in this. There's already a lot of people that are, but it's mainly we're all trying to do something positive in these times, and I think this is something that we all can put our heads together and focus on getting these plastic caps to the Dover Library. We thank you for participating, and we look forward to that bench being located right outside the Dover Library.
Casa, make yourself at home, do your do. Welcome to my pad, this your lab, go create your move.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to 99 Miles Per Hour with me, your host, Perci Garner. This is a podcast, but we also are on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, leave a comment. We might respond if it's a nice one. But appreciate you tuning in. And we don't have any new 5-star ratings. I don't know what that's about, but come on, people. We'll read them on the next episode if you say something nice about us. But I also want to make sure that you guys go check out all the podcasts on the Get Level Pod network, and that is getlevelpod.com, right? Yes. I've only said it a couple times. And then also I wanted to share that this episode is sponsored by Your Pizza Shop. This pizza shop is over in New Philly, so it's local, even though we won't hold it against them that they're in Quaker territory. But here you can get chicken. I love some chicken. Wings. I love wings. Subs and pizza, of course. If you're looking to order online, you can go to yourpizzashop.com. Super easy website. Get your order in, get the food to your tummy, and it's all good. Just to let you know, it is the finest pizza anywhere. And then I have something serious I want to talk about before we get to our special guest today. So this Saturday I woke up early to go speak in Willoughby, Ohio at a baseball tournament, that was in memory. Well, I don't want to say in memory, but in honor of Ashton Staton. So he's a 12-year-old, who was really good at baseball. And unfortunately he has, come down with a condition that, his immune system attacks his brain. So, he has shown progress. He opened his eyes this Saturday. So that was great. I got to meet his family. They're great. They're in good spirits, but they also would help. They do have a goal on GoFundMe, and I'll try to give the link to Josh. And I'm out of breath because I ran over here. But anyways, the guest we got today is a special guest. He is one of my coworkers, and he is very, competitive and, a very hard worker. And he kind of inspires me every day when I come and see him, and it's someone that I think I wanted to have on the show for a minute, but, I didn't want to have too many ComDoc employees back to back to back. This guy is from Dundee, Ohio, and his name is Drexel Weber. How you feeling, man? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm good. That was a good plug. Appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm trying not to sweat right now. I'll catch my breath once you have a long story to tell us, but I do appreciate you stopping by. I know you just got off work, coming from an appointment. But, I just want to introduce people. If you guys don't know Drexel, you will. But he is a very hard worker, very just climbing the ranks, doing whatever he got to do. And it's admiring because what are you, like 18?
23, but yeah, close, man. I go to most appointments and people are like, "You're 16. How are you even here right now? Shouldn't you be in school?" So that's the typical.
Well, he left some facial hair on today just to show that he is of age.
I've only been trying to grow it for 3 months now, but
Oh man, but it's been a pleasure getting to know Drex, and we get to do that because we both work at ComDoc, and we got a good culture there where we get to dive deep into other people's lives, not just at work. So I got to learn a little bit about Drex, and I wanted to have him on the episode so you guys can learn about him as well. So, I mean, just what's going on with you lately? Let's just start with some things that you're going through or some things that you accomplished, let people know what you're doing.
Yeah. So, my wife and I, we've been together since we were 16 years old from Garaway, right? So I used to go to Dover, grew up, down here, down on Poplar Street, actually. So
okay. I know what
familiar with a lot of the area and stuff. I actually went to this church for a little bit growing up until we, my parents separated, and then I had moved out to Dundee. So grew up out there. Now I'm obviously grown up at 23.
Are you?
I know. So we'll get into this whole stuttering and not able to talk thing here in a little bit too, because that's one big plug.
That's one of the things you overcome. So
yeah.
Drex has overcome a lot in his life. So. We're gonna get him to share a couple of things here.
Yeah.
But he's 23. Got a house already, married. Some people out there 40 ain't done all that yet. So it's an honor to know you, Drex. And I know probably last year you were probably like, oh my gosh, this is Perci Garner. But now you're just like,
for
Perci
sure.
Garner.
Growing up, I was like, am I really about to get to work with Perci Garner? So I've been there for 2 years. And once I figured out you were getting hired, I was like, really? I was telling everybody we're getting Remember I was taking pictures with you and I was look at this ring. Let me send it to all my friends. That's the same thing, man. You being from T County and being in sales around here, man, everybody knows who you are. It's such a big opportunity for you. It's such a big opportunity for our community, for ComDoc and whatnot. So,
and yet I'm still not out selling Drex.
Oh man, you'll get there. You'll definitely get there, man.
No, it's all good. But hey, that's just one of the things. Drex is going to make sure he succeeds, and his work ethic has shown that. And we've got to, do a little bit. And what's the word I want to say? Not co-op. We got to do things together. What does that mean?
Like co-author? Well,
yeah. Well, that's a better word than I was going for. So we'll take that. But Drex has, joined me on a lot of my appointments and sales calls. So, and I've done a little bit with. He hasn't been successful with me because I don't really bring much to the table. But
well, referrals are key, man. When we're out here, I know a lot of people. You know a lot of people, right? Mm-hmm. So typically when we walk in, you got Perci's face, his smile. He is never frowning, right? And same with me, man. There's not much negativity in my life. I don't like to keep that. I just feel like if you have any type of just despair or anything, you just don't have room for that, right? So I may be sad for a few minutes and then I get over it, depending on what it is, of course, right?
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, if you lose a deal, you're kind of like,
man, I'm upset for a minute. I don't typically lose, but when I do lose, it's not very good, right? No,
he's right. I like to pick on him. I can tell when he's lost a deal or something like that. I'm like, Drex, what's wrong? He's like, oh man. But no, he's telling the truth though. He stays positive. But I think we're cut from the same cloth. We don't think. We're both high energy guys, but we don't think that negativity deserves our energy. So we point it in the right direction. But so you've accomplished a lot so far at the age of 23. I mean, there was no college. I guess let's back up a little bit. So the childhood, growing up, obviously you talk about your parents splitting up and stuff like that. I went through the same thing. Did that affect you? Do you think that had a negative effect at all?
When you talk about maybe adversity and how you handle that, I would say that, I was around my grandparents a lot and they taught me a good bit. Once my parents did divorce, it was a little bit of a rough patch, and mom was working a lot. My dad was working a lot. My mom ended up getting remarried. So I didn't know my place sometimes, I guess. It was kind of hard to. But don't get me wrong, I have great relationships with my parents now. Everything is 100%. But back then, as a kid, you don't know better, right? You're not sure what to think of everything. So I started hanging around maybe the wrong crowd. Mm-hmm. I got in some trouble here and there. Not a lot of trouble or anything, but, back in, I'm okay with saying it, everybody changes. But I was more interested in maybe just drinking alcohol as a young kid or maybe looking to get into some other stuff, and that was leading me towards a really, really bad and dark place, I guess. But my parents wouldn't have known that. Nobody knew that. They were all working. They were just trying to provide for me. And the older I get, I understand that. But, I sought forward for some different like coaches and stuff that have really taught me a lot. So I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit, how...
I think it's important. I know people can have great parents, but they still need teachers, coaches, other outside influences that, impact them in a positive way. I had a great dad. My mom was a great parent too, even though she, did get trouble with the law. But, my grandparents, just like you said, yours, like both sides, my grandparents, had a big impact on me. So I think you sharing that is very, just for the young kids that, maybe might be looking toward that type of stuff, can realize like, look, there's other people out there that struggle with this. But they were able to, come out on top and with the support of people around the community. So I thought that's why I think it's important growing up around like a Tuscarawas County or something like that, just to, not to saying that there isn't little small communities in big metropolis cities, but, I think it's a little bit better when, everybody knows everybody and people there are some negative things to that too. But I would say most of it is positive.
Yep.
And someone like you, Drex, I can see how you can rebound because I've seen you overcome a couple things. Well, I guess some of the things I didn't know, but we'll get into that. But besides your grandparents, was there like, wrestling coaches, football coaches, people like that kind of stood out that, sparked a change? Yeah,
for sure. So my dad was there for everything, and he still goes to everything I do, whether it's karaoke, whether it's any like flag football or basketball leagues, anything that I do, he wants to be there. So that's really cool. You always have that support from him for sure. And my mom always worked afternoons and stuff like that. So it's not that she didn't want to be there. She couldn't for the most part. She was home health and stuff like that. So they need their time in the afternoons and stuff like that. So that's what she did. Yep. But as I talk about like kind of that, I was just kind of a jerk. I got bullied as a kid a little bit because I was a wrestler and I sang and I had a really high voice, man. I can tell you that. So everyone's always like, you sing higher than most girls, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, well.
That's a skill.
Puberty has to happen at some point, right? And so maybe it's just a late bloomer. I don't know. But anyways, so I didn't hit a growth spurt until like my, probably junior year.
Wait, you had a growth spurt? No,
right? Dude, my mom is 4'9".
What?
My mom's 4'9", and I'm now the tallest in my family.
Dang.
Yeah, well, my immediate family.
That's crazy.
But anyways, yeah.
Wait, how tall are you?
5'8".
Oh, okay.
I think, yeah. So my dad's I think my dad was 5'10", and he shrunk now. Now he's getting older, so he's about 5'8". Yeah, but when we go back to, like, I was kind of I didn't take any kind of feedback very well back then. So if my teachers told me to do anything, I was kind of disrespectful. Most adults, I would just try to fight and argue just to stand out, just to make kids look at me and be like, oh, he's so cool because he can talk back to parents. That was dumb, right? Like, come on. Or I would like just maybe purposely hurt myself or act like I hurt myself. I was pretty good at acting, I would say, just to make people like me or like feel bad for me.
Yeah.
That was just a way of acting out, I think, as a kid.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyways, I think I really started changing my maturity at probably my junior year, right? When I started getting with my wife.
Okay.
Things started changing a little bit. Her family really took me in a good bit, and we started going to church. Justin and Wanda are tremendous parents to them.
Nice.
Taylor, they always watched out for her, and maybe she didn't get to do what she always wanted to do, but I got to do anything I wanted to do anytime because my parents, right, didn't care. So I kind of helped her get out a little bit more, and then she helped me kind of simmer down a little. Exactly, right. And with that, I can say, and I know we're getting ready to talk about impactful people in my life. I would definitely say it was, my parents and her parents for sure, for sure. And I think everything kind of flipped a switch my junior year. Is at the end of the year, I got called into the principal's office and they said, hey, Drex, you're not allowed to play sports your senior year. And I said, what? So like, I just, I wasn't very good at football as it was, but I was a pretty decent wrestler. I was hoping to be a captain my senior year and stuff like that. But it really hit home because I was like, wow, what's going on? I just didn't go to school very much. Like I was on the verge of being truant. I never did my homework because I didn't care enough. And I wish going back, like now, obviously I wish I did. Yeah. But I remember having to go to my chemistry teacher and saying, hey, and I was failing math and chemistry, and I'm really good at numbers. So like, I don't know why I just never did the homework. I was always able to test. I was able to, do really well in, and I was never able to do the homework because I just didn't have time for it, apparently, is what I thought.
You had better things to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I remember going to my chemistry teacher, and I begged, and I actually cried. I was crying to her and saying, please, can I retake a test that I missed when I wasn't here? And she said, I do not let anybody retest. I do not give extra credit. This is your grade, and this is what you're getting. I literally had to cry and beg as a junior. Like, I felt so bad, and she finally let me retake it. I studied for it. I got an A, and that put me into like a D+ or something like that and let me pass. So that was kind of a flip of a switch for me. I almost had straight A's my senior year because I understood how important it was to be able to play sports.
Yeah.
Taylor helped me out a lot with that, just trying to, if I ever had questions or I needed any help, she was there for me. So
that's what's
up. That was good. And then the other aspect when it comes to coaches, Coach Wallach, Coach Patterson, Coach Gerber, Coach Miller, Coach Selhammer, I could talk about all those wrestling coaches and those football coaches. Those are the guys that really invested in me and saw something in me, which really helped me grow. And
that's even when you didn't really see anything in yourself.
I saw nothing. Right? You're right. I saw nothing. I was like, what am I going to be? A lot of teachers were like, you're not going to be anything. You're not going to turn out to be anything because you're such a punk kid.
Yeah.
And I knew that growing up, right? So just the fact that they had faith in me helped me build my faith. And senior year, it came up. There was a wrestling match. Coach Selhammer, I always connected pretty well with. He always dealt with like the heavyweight kids.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what he coached, or I don't know. Anyways, but he dealt with more of the heavyweight kids, and Coach Gerber and Coach Patterson were always more of the smaller guys. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know. I can't remember if I was like 10-1 or undefeated, or if I was maybe something number.
You'd remember if you were undefeated. No,
I was like 30. Yeah, I was like 39-8 my senior year. So there was it was pretty.
Yeah.
Anyways, we were at Tussle, and there was this kid who had. I was a little nervous about because I knew he was pretty good from like what everybody said. Mm-hmm. Well, then I beat this kid from Tusky Valley the week before, and then I was about to wrestle. This kid was going to wrestle too. I wanted to scout him and I wanted to watch, and I didn't have time because I had to go wrestle. So I go in, I pin my kid, and the second period or something like that, come off the mat, and Coach Selhammer says, "Hey Drex," he's like, that kid that you pinned last week at home or whatever? And I was like, yeah. He's like, he just pinned that Tuslaw kid. You got this. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's go. Yeah. Right? I was like pumped. I was going to win this tournament, get in there. So we get up, we shake hands, we start wrestling. I find out this kid's really good. Like I can feel it, right? You can tell when somebody's really good and you're like going at it with them. It comes up, I stick him in the second period and pin him. And I come off the mat just so excited, just let's go. Like, coaches are all pumped up, and Coach Sammer looks at me and goes, Drex, you're so mental. And I was like, oh, thanks, Coach. Like,
why did he lie? Tell me he lied to you.
He did. He said, that kid is ranked 6th in the state and you just pinned him. So he's like wrestling and is so mental. If you think you're going to lose going into a match, you've already lost the fight.
Yeah.
But if you go in thinking you're going to win, like you have such a better, your chances just double practically.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what me and Kevin Billy talked about on his podcast.
Exactly. And so that has been part of my values and part of like what I live by daily. It's just, and something else, Steve Van Horn always says, be a fountain, not a drain, right? Yeah. So that kind of stuff, and don't cheat your family.
You said that a few times.
A few times, yeah. But those are few things that I've always, and I'm not very good at like analogies. I'm not good at remembering things like that. But when those stick with me, man, like I actually try to live by it. So those are two instances I would say, Selhammer was a big, big advocate for me. And even though he broke my arm my senior year, but he like did a wrestling move to me. I landed on it incorrectly. Man, did he feel bad? But
really,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, was that one of those acting moments where you're like, oh my gosh? No, but no, it was really broke.
No, see, everybody looked around like, oh, here we go, Drexel. Like, no, it literally was broken because I was like, I think my elbow is broken. It was definitely my wrist, but anyways.
But I mean, the confidence is kind of want to talk about. Like, do you think it just came from those teachers, coaches, and everything just pouring into you, or do you think it became because you started to, once they poured into you, you started to prepare, you started to get yourself in the right state of mind, and then that just led to the confidence? Or do you think it was, oh, you had some success, so you just became confident just because you had some success? I
didn't think I trusted in my abilities a lot. And I'm not saying it was all me, because a lot of coaches are the ones that got me to where I needed to be. Mm-hmm. And same with going forward. I've had a lot of good leaders in my life that have helped me grow. You look at Clinton Yoder, which you met. He was one of my very good friends at Provia when I worked there, and he was always a mentor to me. He always tried to help me any way he could. Eric Stutzman was also one of my bosses there, who just, I absolutely love those guys. I'd do anything for them. And then obviously Steve as we're growing. Steve has just been real close with me, and Chrissy.
Yeah,
like Chrissy is my.
What would
she's
you
my
do
work
without
mom.
her?
I don't know what I do, man. I never would have got through the first 2 years. I can tell you that.
That's what's up, though. I mean, that's good because I do admire that about you. I admire that when I see confidence in somebody, I'm like, because I know that's an area I struggle in. I've talked about that a lot on this channel, but
man, people to be around that are confident as can be is Caitlin Ray and Jackie Capuano. Those two are the most confident people that I know. I mean, of course, like Steve and them, but our team is so. Our values are good, are just everything that we stand for. It's just we have a really good team together, and everybody grows consistently. And I think that's what, Steve's done a really good job at keeping us all together.
And the funny thing about Caitlin and Jackie is they're like 3 foot tall, like 50-pound women. I mean, no offense, but they're just really little, and they show like Caitlin showed more courage on a couple of cold calls than I'm like, and it's a woman that we're talking to. So I'm like bigger than both of these. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And Caitlin's like, and it just goes on about it. I'm like, man, this is crazy. I need to get myself together.
And I heard this story too. I was listening to a podcast the other day. I think it's the Advanced Selling podcast. And they had said this little boy came up and sorry, I didn't mean to plug somebody else's podcast.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
Anyways, but they said, this little boy went to his mom and said, hey mom, imagine that you are surrounded by 12 hungry tigers. What do you do? And mom said, I don't know, run? Like, yeah, are you actually going to run from 12 hungry tigers? It's not going to happen, right? And he just said, just stop imagining. And I was like, oh, man, like that's good and that's clever, right? So before you go into a cold call, before you make that phone dial, anything like that, you're probably in your head already and you're imagining, what am I going to say? What do I do? Man, just pick up the phone, go in, have a conversation. Yeah. And then if it leads to something great, but you can't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Yeah. Like that's one thing that I've continuously starting to learn. And I do it too. Trust me. There's many times where I fake it till I make it, man. Yeah. Right? So
that's funny that the Steve, you drive past a place and you're like, oh, there's not enough people there, or you drive past and like, oh, there's too many people there. So
yeah. And all of a sudden next week they're delivering a copier for somebody else, right? That's our thing.
Great feeling. But I want to talk about another success story you've had. So you told the story because we're both a part of Toastmasters. And if you don't know what Toastmasters is, it's a club. It's very exclusive. I don't think I know they're all over the world, but ComDoc has a Toastmasters, and me and Drex joined relatively the same time. Same time? Was that the
I think so. It was open house.
Open house. Okay, I went because there was food. So
that was exactly why you went too.
But it turned out to be a great thing. But Drex there. So I guess before you came to ComDoc, you used to have you stuttered and you apparently had a lisp.
Yeah. So I had a lisp as a kid, and that was one. Yeah. Goodness gracious. My sister she'll say it all the time. What was that? What was that thing you always used to say? So I think I was in maybe 4th grade or so. The lisp was, I had a favorite sandwich. I loved salami. I loved lettuce and ranch dressing. So I would put that on a sandwich and eat it all the time. But my sister would make fun of me and she'd be like, Drexel, what's that? She would be around all of her friends. She's like, what's that sandwich that you always like to eat? I was like, oh, a salami salad dressing sandwich. That's exactly how I'd say it too. And everyone would just bust up laughing. So I'm glad that we got that lisp out of the way. I can tell you that.
That's good. But then?
The stuttering wise, I mean, it was more of, I was just so nervous. I've never spoke in public. I didn't go to college, as we kind of talked about a little bit. So I think the confidence there on the professional side was definitely lacking. I just never could get up in front of people. I would just fumble around, get real nervous, kind of get chills, and just shake really bad. And then I couldn't get what I wanted to say out. So that,
I saw that happen the first day.
Yeah. Toastmasters really, was
it the open house?
I don't remember if it was the open house.
When we were doing the table topics?
That's
what was the day I won.
Yeah, it was.
Where you pulled out the story and mine was about the cop being pulled over.
Because that literally happened to you?
Yeah.
Because it was absolutely perfect.
It was real.
And it said something about me having to, there was a really bad accident and there was some fire trucks and stuff like that. And you have to explain, they walked up to the police officer, or the police officer walked up to the family and said, and I literally froze and was like, everything was fine. And everybody looked at me and I was like, blank. Everything was fine. The police officer said everything was fine. And everyone looked at me like, okay. Like, are you going to keep going? And I was like, yeah. So as I said, everything was fine. And like, I just kept that's it. And I was like, all right, I'm done. And so at the end, my bosses and everybody literally were like, yeah, we're going to pay for your membership because you definitely need to do this. Okay. So ever since then, it's kind of helped me a lot. Going virtual kind of, it's a little bit harder, I'd say, as it was in person. But, with COVID and the way things are going these days.
What's COVID?
No, what? Yeah.
Well, I mean, even after that, though, I mean, before we went virtual, I saw you obviously making strides, but then you did that like Halloween commercial with Mikey, and I don't know who else was in the background, but you look like a completely different person.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I know you put that little testimony up on LinkedIn, and you got a lot of positive feedback from Sharon, because that's what I said on Kevin Millie's podcast too. Like, people, when you're vulnerable, people get closer. So they were like, oh yeah, that's
100%.
awesome. That's awesome. So, you shared that, I struggle with stuttering, I struggle with public speaking, but, and I wish you would have posted that commercial though. Did you post it? It was posted on ComDoc's site, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if I might have shared it.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
But you've come a long way, and obviously even on this podcast, Halloween is coming up, and even on this podcast, it's just flowing. But obviously, a podcast is more like not public speaking, but more of like a conversation, which is why I love it. But
the older I get, the more confident I get, I think, and the reason I say the more confident I get, it's from listening from Steve, listening to you, listening to everybody that talks, and just trying to pick up from you guys. There's nothing. I would never say that I did this on my own. I think that's one thing that it's always a team effort. I always bring people into most of my deals. I can't say that I'm the one. I may have a good relationship with someone, but to be honest with you, there's someone who's better than me. There's someone that's something Clippy always taught me too, Clinton Yoder. He always said, there's smarter people than me. So if I want to run a business or something, then I'm going to hire people who are smarter than me to actually help run that business. I don't care. Like some bosses and some people are like, that person might have the ability to take my job one day, and I'm terrified of that. Yeah. That's not what you want. You know what I mean? So you want people who are going to be able to help build and grow your business, right? Exactly. So that was one thing. You surround yourself with good people, intelligent people, and you just grow from that.
Yeah,
so.
And I think that's what we've done at ComDoc. So it was
for sure.
It's been good, and I'm glad I got to just be a part of the team we got. And moving forward, I'm excited to see what you do. You know what I'm saying? Take Steve's job one of these days. But
that'd be nice.
Real quick, because you being successful in business, overcoming the speaking and stuff like that, and then just being very, I guess, competitive. And I noticed it early on. I feel like my first month at ComDoc, you were talking about fighting everybody in the office.
Yeah.
But where do you think that came from? Is your family competitive? Was that you guys just growing up playing cards or playing football outside or what?
Not really, man. So I didn't even start football until it was either.
You didn't play Smear the.
I might have done all that. Word yeah, I might have done all that. But no, WWE was one of my biggest. I loved watching that. And you always saw somebody.
When you were watching, it was WWE. It wasn't WWF.
No, I'm too young for that.
Oh my!
I know, right? I know.
We need to get Josh a mic.
I was born in '97, Perci.
Oh my goodness!
But yeah, that was one thing, and that's what made me want to actually wrestle was WWE. But then after the first couple practices, Dad was like, "Hey, you can't drop kick anybody. You can't oh, okay, that makes sense, right?" But that just continued. Dad would always say, "Hey, if you win this match, I'll buy you an ice cream cone." That was one thing. So I always went out there, and I was always on the all-star team.
Let's go.
Yeah, I was like, let's go. Dad's going to buy me one if I win. So, I mean, that was his little way of pushing me to do it, right? But
that is hilarious just because that's what sparked me getting drafted into the MLB. Literally, my coach was like, hey, if you throw harder than this, we were playing Louisville. If you throw harder than this pitcher, I'll get you a king-size Snickers bar is what he told me.
There you go, right?
I was like, all right, for sure. Let's go. And I went out there like, nah.
Just rip them, yeah.
And that was like my best game. And there's so many scouts there. It's just funny that's what, at that age, Well,
think about it in sales too, right?
Yeah.
We get up there and all of a sudden Jackie's dangling gift cards in front of us. Like, hey, if you guys go load an app, then you're going to get a $10. Yeah, go do your job. Oh, sweet. Gift cards, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
All of a sudden, we have 20 app loads. I mean, that was last year for sure.
Yeah,
we got to do a little better right now.
Sorry, Jackie.
Yeah.
But let's talk about your laugh. It's sort of like a white Eddie Murphy.
Goodness. Talk about yours and what?
There it is.
No, if I'm I would be like, Like it's like super. I can't even.
We didn't touch on, before I get to the future, your career goals and what you want to do in the community, and you know, what you see yourself doing more of moving forward is, you know, something that you're kind of talented at, which kind of is backwards. So you don't like public speaking and all this stuff, but for some reason you're okay with singing.
Yeah.
And you go to karaoke all the time, and
that is weird.
You're in a band, and you're just like, whatever. When did you realize you could sing?
I always sang in the car as a kid, and it's a funny story because I get told this story all the time. I don't remember it. I think I was 4 years old, and I walked up, or we were at the VFW. My grandfather was in the Air Force, so they always went. I kind of grew up at the VFW with them. They have karaoke night, and I would always go because I liked music. And my grandma was like, hey, put them up there. Let's go. Let's put Drexel up there. And they're like, okay. And so they start messing with the screen, and they're trying to turn. And my grandma goes, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm turning the screen. So he can't read. What's it matter? Just play the music. And they're like, okay. So I started singing, and I think that was kind of the start. You know, people would always ask me. I was like my second grade play, which we just found the tape for. My grandma gave me yesterday. I was like, no way. It was kind of cool. It was weird because I liked being the center of attention. So I was actually the lead character in our second grade play, and I had like the most lines out of the entire play. So I had no problem speaking then.
Yeah, you are weird.
It's so weird. I know, man. It's like the older I got, I kind of.
Well, yeah, you start to care about what people think. And
exactly.
All that stuff, yeah.
And now I don't really care as much. I mean, it's completely, it depends, I guess, obviously. I would never want to hurt anybody's feelings, but back then I didn't care either. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
Well, you have to show that to the team at ComDoc, your second grade play.
Yeah. It's on a VHS, so if you get a VHS player somewhere, I don't know if you can go on eBay.
You know what a VHS is? It's crazy.
No, but, you know, in the community for the most part, you know, I've won a lot of contests just singing, and it's
around Tuscarawas County or upward. Oh, okay.
First Town Days, I think I've won it twice or three times. I've won the Denison Railroad Days. They used to have an Italian festival. Yeah. They used to have a karaoke idol or something there, and so it was kind of cool. Those were like my tidbits. I have a bunch of trophies at home for them, but
really
now
my wife just made me throw away my trophies.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I hung some of my stuff up, but.
Well, yours is recent. All my trophies that I won are from 10, 12 years old. So, you know, I haven't won anything in a long time. So,
yeah.
But like, okay, so you're doing well, speaking. You like singing, and the one thing I think is pretty funny about you is you like helping people. Like you go out of your way just to help. So if I get this house and I move, you know, I'm counting on you to help me move.
Absolutely. I do it all the time, man. Trust me. A lot of people ask me for that.
Maybe Josh too, but anyways. Josh was like, what? So the future, moving to the future, like, do you think about the future much, or are you like LeBron? No, I just want to get better today.
Honestly, and, in the moment, I'm more of that. That's me for the most part. You know, I want to make a positive impact in everybody's day if I can, and I want to leave a good mark. I never want to upset anybody. You know, if I can make some type of impact, and that's the same way for like my dad. My dad always was helping someone else out. It was never for him for the most part. It was always if someone asked him for help, he was doing it. So he helps move all of his friends. He helps, he'll help you do anything really. And anytime I need something with my cars, he'll help me out. So I've learned that growing up. So anytime someone needs help, so like I enjoy going out in the field with you. I enjoy going out in the field with Andrew and with Mikey and all those guys because it's helping an ultimate goal. Number one, and you can learn from me, I can learn from you, and it's just fun, right? When you have a good attitude, when you can get out there, that's what's impactful. And my day is made just making people laugh, making people just be in a good mood, helping people out, honestly. So learned a lot of that, the values that Provia brought, I think, helped me grow
What's
a lot.
Provia? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, what's Provia? Yeah.
Provia, baby. That's what's up. So where have you worked so far in your career?
So I worked at Provia for
First?
actually I worked at Robin Industries for like a month or two.
Oh, okay. Then you went to Provia?
Because Wanda's mom was director of marketing there for Taylor's mom, Wanda, was there for 18 years, I think, as the director of marketing. So
nice.
She helped me get a plug-in, and I got there, and I worked there for about a year and a half, became a team lead. I pretty much knew everything, how to mix the mud, how to make the stone siding. I mean, I worked in their stone plant down in Zanesville. They built a new facility up here. And then I got an opportunity at Lauren Manufacturing, got a job, and then got a supervisor position there.
How old were you when you got the supervisor position?
19.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so that was good.
So that was good.
That was good. Yeah, it's just, again, I enjoy being a leader and trying to help. Man, that was one of the toughest parts of my life, though, I will say, too, because, again, my 23-year or my 5-year career, right? Toughest parts of my life. Goodness. There was a lot of 40, 50-year-old union workers
that you were leading.
That I was the boss. 19. Some of them were 3 years older or 3 times my age, something, right? And so that was a little difficult at first. Everyone was like, how is this punk kid going to help me?
Yeah.
And so they really tested me for a while. And I looked like I was doing bad because they didn't. But then what I found out and what I learned was one person was able to say, hey, you know what? I'll help you out, right? Someone, he understands the situation, whether he likes it or not.
Yeah.
So he's trying to teach me a little bit more. And as other people started to, I would go out on the line and I would help make the rubber. I would help them string their line. I would help them I would work with them. And that's something I learned from Provia too. Was in their Provia leads. So, I would work with them rather than, work.
Kind of boss them around.
Correct.
Or have them work for you. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was a huge changer. And by the end of it, once I left, now I have people saying, man, we miss you, or we haven't seen you in a while. I'm like, oh, thanks. I appreciate that. So that kind of stuff is.
So Drexel Weber, huh? So you go from this little, turd to something that, I mean, obviously we can't define you yet because you're still a baby, but
I'm blessed every day, man. My wife is a huge impact for my day. She keeps me sane for the most part, right? Anything that I need, she's my rock. So I have to put that little plug in for her, of course, right?
Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor.
But that's what's up. I mean, that's good. And I know you guys got family goals. Is there any career goals you have moving forward? Short term, long term, whatever. Just
you know what, and that's exactly what I kind of said. So, of course, I'm having. Last year I had a pretty good year. This year I'm having a tremendous year compared to where I would have thought it started. And next year, I always tell you guys, hey, I'm scared for next month. Like I don't know what I'm gonna sell. I don't know what's gonna happen. Right?
He always says this, Josh. Like, dude, I'm like, Drex, that was a good month, man. He's like, yeah, I have nothing left. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then he just kills it the next month. But that's good. That's good. That's good. It's good to have that.
So I'm obviously not without prospecting so much this year because of COVID.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous about next year. I'm going to say it now, and maybe that's like my thing. But
that keeps you going.
Exactly.
But you're like, oh yeah, I just got stuff sitting around.
It drives me and makes me work harder. Mm-hmm. I will say. So I'm excited to. I want to be at the top of the food chain next year as well. So I'm just going to continue to work as hard as I can to be that leader, and if things come from it, great. If not, I mean, then it is what it is. Opportunities come up all the time, regardless of what it is. So I'm just blessed to have really good leadership. And
what's a strength of yours?
I would say my.
This wasn't. You weren't prepared for this.
No, you're right. I wasn't prepared for that one. No. I would say my personality and my willingness to help people, like I said. So. Yeah. Most of I absolutely hate the term, and I tell everybody this. I hate the term salesman, right?
Yeah.
Do I not say this all the time? I hate you looking at me being like, oh, here's another sales guy just trying to pitch me and sell me. That's not it. Like, I want to go in and I want to be able to provide some kind of value and some kind of service for you and be a consultant rather than be a sales guy. So I think that helps me a good bit, and I'm very coachable. So I feel like if you show me how to do something, you teach me, then I feel like I can pick up on it pretty well.
And that's something you developed, though, because before that wasn't something that you were really big on. You like to, whenever you get feedback or constructive criticism, you're like, that you kind of took it head on instead of receiving it. But now look at you, he's all grown up.
I love feedback now because it just fuels my fire. Like if I do something wrong, I want to fix it.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that if you ever give me negative feedback, I'm going to accept it, and I'm going to want to fix it. So
gotcha. Last question. What is a weakness that you? I mean, obviously you've overcome a lot of weaknesses at one point, but is there a weakness you still have that you want to get better in 2021?
I think. Like that's one thing that I'd like to ask everybody. So we went to that Serve conference, right?
Yeah.
And they said, "Hey,
thanks for inviting me."
You're welcome. Those blinders, blind spots that you have, right? It's so powerful, and I think to ask people, to ask your significant other, to ask your kids, to ask your coworkers, like, what are my blind spots? Where can I get better? what do you see that can negatively impact my career, can negatively impact you? Like, how can we fix these things? And you're not going to see, at first you're probably going to be like, I don't do that, or what, you know what I mean? But you have to understand, like, hey, this is something that someone from the outside source is telling me that you need to fix. So some of my blind spots, that's something I want to ask, you know, like you.
Well, they said to be careful, though, asking your wife.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They did actually say that.
But if you want to be a good...
dishes, you don't do the laundry. Like, no, I love you, babe. Just kidding.
Well, they did say that, do you remember that start, stop, keep thing? I've actually asked that to my son, and it was pretty good.
What should I start doing? What should I stop doing?
What should I keep doing?
Yeah.
And that was from Kevin Billy, and I'm like, I'm taking that one to the grave. I love that.
Absolutely.
As in, not keeping it a secret, but that's going to be with me until I die. I'm always going to ask someone, you know, especially someone I care about, like my kids. And I haven't asked my wife yet. I got to get my head together before I do that. But
and you might not always like the answer, right?
Yeah.
That's what Kevin was kind of saying. Like, so.
I tell her that, though. Like, when she tells me something, I might give her a little, you know.
Yeah.
But eventually, you know, whether it's 10, 15 minutes later, I realize that, okay, I do need to fix this.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And I feel like my wife would definitely be like, quit singing in the car. Quit singing over top the music like all the time. I just want to hear the music, right? That's, anywhere I go, man, I am singing. So,
well, me and my wife, we like to sing too. We go to weddings all the time. If you want to pay us to entertain at your wedding. No, I'm joking.
We've done some karaoke together.
Yeah, we have. What did we do? Yeah, Usher and Ludacris.
Yeah. Should have got
And then I did Rude Boy.
Oh, yeah.
You know Rude Boy, Josh? Oh, my gosh. It's Rihanna. Go home, put it on for Steph. Oh, yeah. Me and Steph, we jammed to that song all the time. But no, this has been fun, man. It's been a pleasure having you on, and I do look forward to, you know, obviously continue the relationship, and I guess I'll see you at some point this week, I guess.
Oh yeah, we always call each other, or we always have something to talk about for the most part. So
we help each other out, bounce stuff off each other. You know, we were obsessed with our flyers.
Yeah,
last year, this year couldn't really go hand them out, but
we always have good times out there. So if you see us out there,
yes,
I mean honestly, just
give us your money. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, give us your money. Perci's got a house to sell, or a house to pay for.
Yes, I will have to try to outdo you next year to pay for this house if we get it. Don't jinx it.
Sorry.
Damn. No, I'm joking.
Knock on wood.
But no, I appreciate you having you here with us, Josh. Usually I thank you at the beginning, but thanks for everything that you do for 99 miles per hour. And I appreciate you guys listening. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode with Drex, and hopefully you got to know him a little bit. Hit him up on social media. His social medias will be in the description. Do you have social media?
I do. Yeah, I have Facebook and
LinkedIn. Do you have Instagram, Twitter?
I don't have an Instagram. I do have a Twitter. I don't really use my Twitter too much.
Gotcha.
I mean, sometimes I see too much negativity on Twitter, so I like to stay clear. And like I said, like I enjoy being an advocate in the community. So a lot of things, you know, I've been asked to, unfortunately I can't coach because of our work schedule, but I've asked a few times and just to be able to be a positive influence in some of those kids' lives. Cause I understand how it was with some, right? So just having I don't want to say bad cause it wasn't bad. Don't get me shot by my parents or anything, but that home life, like I said, like sometimes maybe it could be a little bit better. Some kids are just struggling.
If it's bad, if you're worried they're going to shoot you. No, I'm joking.
I don't know. Yeah. But if a kid's struggling or something, I that's one thing that when we talk about future, like how can I make an impact? That would be one thing that I'd like to do.
Yeah, paying it forward. I would like to have a one day where I don't have to worry about the time. I just want to donate my time. Obviously donating money is great, but you know, spending time with people I think is a little bit more valuable. And that's always my goal, you know. I want to what's that P word? When you give a lot of money and time. You don't know it either? Come on. Bill Gates, he's a philanthropist. That's what I want to be. Is that what it is?
Sure.
Google it. No, I'm joking. Oh yeah, that new iPhone's coming out, guys.
Pre-ordering it November. November, right?
Oh, you're getting the big one. I forgot you're a big.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
I like my big ones.
That's what. Anyways.
Oh, come on, Perce.
Hey, I got Caleb. I had to get you.
Yeah, amen. Yeah.
But no, seriously, when I wrap things up, this always happens. But thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to subscribe, or if you are listening, if you do not watch this on YouTube and you just listen in your headphones on Apple Podcasts, we appreciate you. I will be one of these years putting up videos on Facebook and not just on YouTube. So we'll put it everywhere, and hopefully you enjoy the content. We like making it. Well, Josh does most of it, but we enjoy it, and hopefully you do as well. So until then, what do I want to say? I want to say a Mr. Bond quote. Make it a great day or not. The choice is yours. Peace.
I got a crib by the water. Say me casa, su casa. It feel like Casablanca. Shawty, you my little mama. I got a crib by the water. Say me casa, su casa. It feel like Casablanca. Shawty, you my little